Hello again! I'm Rigers Bakiu, and it's great to have you back for this series of video tutorials from the MedPAN's regular training program to get you started on characterizing fishing activities in your marine protected areas. Remember, in the first video we shared an overview of Mediterranean fisheries and their vessels. Now we'll dive into fishing gear, methods and métiers. These are essential to know and understand for managing and monitoring fisheries in your MPAs. Before diving in, let's clarify a few terms. Fishing gear encompasses all tools used to catch marine species, from fishing rods, hooks, fishing lines and nets to the equipment used for spearfishing. The way we use this gear defines the fishing method or technique. For example, in industrial fishing, trolling catches demersal fish, while purse seines target pelagic fish, whereas traditional methods used by small-scale fishers in the Mediterranean often include hand-line fishing, long-line fishing, and gill net fishing. Lastly, targeted species are those species that are most wanted by fishers in a particular fishery. In other words, target species are the primary focus of a fishery. These three notions lay the foundations for another key concept, the concept of fishing métier. A fishing métier is a group of fishing operations targeting a specific assemblage of species using a specific gear within a specific period or area according to the Déporté and colleagues scientific article of 2012. Think of it as a specialized fishing style focusing on catching certain species using a particular method or gear like nets or lines, and often in a specific time or place. It's not just about the tool, but also the skill, intention, and choice of target. To clarify, let's look at this example from the Côte Bleue Marine Park in France. Here, 7 métiers were identified based on target species, gear type, fishing grounds, and fishing periods. As shown here, for spirits, small-scale fishers utilize gill nets and combined nets during autumn and spring at depths between 20 and 45 meters. Fishing métiers, like those identified in the Côte Bleue Marine Park, provide a detailed snapshot of specific fishing practices. By categorizing fishing based on target species, geolocation and timing, NPA managers can design more effective conservation strategies, ensuring sustainable fishing practices while preserving marine ecosystems. In the case of spirits, knowing that fishers use gill nets in specific seasons and depths allow for target monitoring and management. In the Mediterranean, fishing gear can be broken down into 3 broad categories: industrial fishing, small-scale fishing, and recreational fishing gear. So let's start by looking at the main characteristics of the fishing gears most commonly used by industrial fisheries in the Mediterranean. Industrial fishing relies on powerful boats fitted with advanced technologies enabling efficient and huge catches. They might be out at sea for weeks, and their high profitability is often linked to their low selectivity in terms of size and species code, as well as their high productivity. Common vessels include purse seiners, trawlers, and midwater trawlers. Trolling involves a conical net dragged through water either on the bottom or on the surface. The net mouths stay open thanks to other boards, floats on the head rope, and sinkers in the foot rope. These methods account for over 20% of global marine catches. In the Mediterranean, it is used to target species such as European hake, red mullet, monkfish, Norway lobster, different shrimp species like Parapeneus longerostris and Aristeomorpha foliacea, gill-tailed sea bream, and European sea bass. Trolling, especially bottom trolling, poses environmental concerns. These nets can devastate habitats like coral, sponge, and sea meadows habitats, catch unintended species at high rate, and cause biodiversity loss. Bottom trawlers drag fishing nets weighted down with heavy doors like those shown in the figure, which also cause considerable damage to the seabed. Efforts have been made with the creation of protected areas and no-troll zones, but effective management and enforcement remain crucial and are unfortunately often lacking in the Mediterranean. Bottom trawls work close to the seabed, There are low opening trawls for capturing demersal species like shrimp and sole, and high opening trawls mainly for semi-demersal or pelagic species. Trawls can be single or double rigged, which in the second case means that two gears are towed simultaneously. A beam trawl is a trawl whose horizontal spread is maintained by the rigid beam across the net mouth. This rigid horizontal spread is often crafted from materials like wood, bamboo, or metal. The heavy steel beam is often supported by beam heads and broad shoes at the bottom slide over the seabed. Beam trawls are usually towed on the seabed, often targeting fish such as flatfish and shrimp. One beam trawl can be towed from the stem of the vessel, or two or more beam trawls can be towed from outriggers. Regardless of how many beam trawls are towed behind a boat, they are classified as beam trawl, unlike other trawls for which single, twin, and multiple trawls are classified separately. The bottom outer trawl, often just called outer trawl or bottom trawl, is cone-shaped and towed on the seabed. It is the most common type of trawl. Developed from beam trawls in the 19th century, it uses heavily outer boards, commonly called doors, to spread horizontally. The net is held open vertically by floats along the head rope, also called headline, or simply by the height of the outer boards, while ground contact is maintained by a weighted ground gear, also called ground rope or foot rope, which also protects the net from damage. A midwater trawl, also called pelagic trawl, is a cone-shaped net towed in midwater by one or two boats to catch pelagic or semi-demersal fish in the water column without seabed contact. These nets are larger, have large meshes up front to reduce drag, and clamp weights to maintain a vertical opening. As fish tire, they are captured by smaller meshes. Technologies like echo-sounders and scanning sonars help detect fish schools, while net sounders, a so-called net sound, attached to the trawl's head rope, precisely position the trawl relative to fish depth in real time. Towing speed usually ranges from 3 to 5 knots, but 6 knots may be required for faster swimming species. Target species are often schooling species such as scombreeds, and catch rates are often very high. Purseines are mobile fishing gear designed to catch schools of pelagic or midwater fishes by surrounding them. They usually consist of a long wall of netting with a lead line and a float line, and with a purse line to close up the bottom of the net to prevent the fish from escaping downwards. Depending on the target and region, configurations vary. A modern tuna purseine, as illustrated on this slide, first figure, can be very large, measuring 2,000 meters or more in length and 250 meters or more in depth. Although purseines can be managed by one or two boats, the most common operations are carried out by a single boat with or without an auxiliary skiff. Some vessels use lights to gather fish schools and other utilize fish aggregations devices, known by the relative acronym as FADs, which are particularly effective for attracting species like tuna. In the Mediterranean, the primary targets are tuna, European pilchard, and European anchovy. Using purseines for free swimming schools results in less than 1% of bycatch. Dredges, designed as cages equipped with blades, are specialized tools for harvesting animals from the seabed. The mechanized or hydraulic dredge is a large metal cage equipped with a cutting blade, which uses high-pressure water jets to displace sediments, thereby collecting animals, primarily mollusks such as mussels and clams. The dredge may also be towed slowly during fishing, especially on large, powerful vessels. In some operations, the boat may set a large anchor so that the boat can maneuver several sectors around the anchoring position. Dredging is considered to be one of the practices with the greatest impact on coastal benthic ecosystems, particularly on species such as sea urchins and bivalves. Different type of dredges gear, for example, mechanized clam dredging, hydraulic clam dredging, etc., can each have a direct impact in the short and long term on megabenthic communities. Hydraulic dredge stands out in large-scale fishing operations, targeting species of the seabed, especially oysters, clams, mussels, crabs, sea urchins, and sea cucumbers. For instance, in the northern and central Adriatic Sea, a large fleet of about 380 hydraulic dredgers operates on the sandy coastal bottoms, targeting the infaunal bivalve Camellia gallina. Well, now delve into the main types of gear and métiers used in the Mediterranean small-scale fisheries. Let's recall that these fisheries play a significant role in local communities both culturally and economically. Small-scale or artisanal fisheries involve fishing households as opposed to large-scale companies. They use relatively small fishing vessels, making short fishing trips close to shore and mainly for local markets. Whether for subsistence or commercial purposes, small-scale fisheries are considered to have a reduced environmental impact because of their selective methods and coastal strategies. Their practices usually involve fishing within a limited radius of home harbors, aiming to alternate areas and selective fishing gears to target different species according to season. Fixed nets are one of the most commonly used fishing gears in the Mediterranean small-scale fisheries. Fixed nets are rectangular walls of netting that catch fish by gilling, wedging, snagging, entangling or entrapping them in pockets. Impressively, over 70,000 vessels employ this method, providing around 150,000 jobs, underscoring its importance in the region. The fixed nets most commonly used in the Mediterranean small-scale fisheries are gill nets and trammel nets. Gill nets are essentially net panels set vertically in the water, held in position by floaters and sinkers. They are designed to catch fish as they swim into them, trapping them by gilling, tangling, or wedging. Whether on the seafloor or drifting on the surface, gill nets are globally used by small-scale fishers. Let's now take a look at the trammel net, another typical traditional fishing method in the Mediterranean. Trammel nets trap the fish in a pocket of netting using three panels: an inner panel with small mesh size and two outer panels with larger mesh size. The smaller mesh pushes through the large ones, creating a pocket that traps the fish. The design and operation of trammel nets make them suitable for the diverse and complex coastal environments of the Mediterranean. Additionally, their selective fishing methods help in reducing bycatch, making them a preferred choice for many small-scale fishers in the area. Mediterranean fisheries sometimes combine gill nets and trammel nets for better efficiency. This hybrid design features trammel nets with gill nets on top. The webbing hangs from the headline to the bottom line, attacked by a hanging twine staple, which is sticked to the head rope at regular intervals. This method effectively targets species like sparrows, hake, rays, lobsters, sole, and mullets. Seine nets and the lampara or ring nets are also popular among small-scale fishers. A seine net is a long wall of netting supported by floats and sinkers, using ropes for hauling and herding fish. They are classified as boat seines, for instance known as Danish seine when operated from a boat, and the shore or beach seines when from the shore. Shore seines are usually used in coastal shallow waters where bottom and surface act as natural barriers, which prevents the fish from escaping from the area enclosed by the net. A common example of boat seines is the Danish seine. This method involves herding fish into the opening of the net, and many small-scale fishers appreciate its effectiveness. The design of these cone-shaped nets, consisting of two wings, a body and a back, is similar in many ways to that of trolls. Operated from a boat, the nets are generally used on the bottom, where they are hauled by two ropes, usually very long, set in the water so as to ensure that as many fish as possible are driven or herded toward the opening of the nets. Boat seines are generally used on smooth seabed to prevent net damage. Other similar nets in this category are Lampara nets. Lampara nets stand out with their unique design as a central bond with a smaller mesh in the form of a spoon, and two lateral wings make it possible to surround the fish when both wings are hauled simultaneously through attached ropes. Lampara nets are generally operated by relatively small boats and are often used at night with lights to attract and concentrate small pelagic fish. This method is often used in coastal areas to catch bait fish for hook and line fisheries, especially pole and line fishing for tuna. A long line is a type of hook and line gear where hooks are connected to branch lines connected to a long main line at certain intervals. The setup and length vary based on the target species and fishing area, ranging from a few hundred meters for coastal longlines to more than 80 kilometers for large-scale drifting pelagic longlines. Essential components include the main line, branch line, hooks, and bait. They can be deployed manually or using powered reels. Long lines are usually baited and set in open water intended for a period of time. They can be bottom long lines for seabed species or pelagic long lines for midwater fish. Bottom long lining targets bottom species such as European hake, turbot, rays, and squids, while pelagic long lining aims for pelagic and midwater fish like sparrows, European sea bass, sharks, Atlantic mackerel, great amberjack, tuna, etc. Long lines can inadvertently interact with vulnerable species, either through bait depredation or entanglement. In regions like the Catalan Sea, fishers utilize the piedras bolas long lines. These species lines are designed to keep the main line elevated above the seafloor, preventing baited hooks from touching the bottom. This method aims to target demersal species while reducing the risk of depredation by demersal sharks, such as small spotted cat sharks, differently known by its scientific name as Silurinus canicula, or by invertebrate scavengers. The drawback of this long line is that it takes longer to sink during deployments, increasing the risk of incidental seabird catch. Pods, also known as traps, are the simplest and among the oldest gear known to fishers. In some contexts, small pods are also called creels. A pod is a small enclosure, allowing animals to enter and preventing their escape. Typically set on the seafloor with bait and marked by surface indicators, pods can be of any shape and made of various materials. They are usually designed in the forms of cages or baskets with one or more openings or entrance to catch fish, crustaceans, mollusks, in particular octopus. Similar to gill nets and entangling nets, traps are intended fishing gears. This means they can catch fish and other animals without human supervision. However, this also makes gear loss more frequent. Traps that are abandoned, lost, or discharged, especially those that do not have an escape vent, can keep catching even big mammals like it is shown in the figure, and pose environmental threats known as ghost fishing. In many trap fisheries, biodegradable materials are used in order to mitigate this issue. Trap nets, also known as dalyan in Turkish, tonara in Italian, kakiami in Japanese, pound nets, pike nets, and stone nets or wares, are fixed fishing gear of various shapes that usually consist of one or two barriers or fences, leaders or wings, guiding the fish to a final compartment, which can be a chamber, trap, or pound, from which the fish cannot escape. Anchored to the bottom and perpendicular to the shore, the netting usually reaches above the waterline. The final compartment is either covered or open air. Trap nets usually target migratory species like midwater or pelagic fishes in estuarine or coastal water such as eels, anguilla anguilla, Sparids from the family of Sparidae, salmon, salmon salar, whitefish, Gorgonus lavaretus, herring, Clupea harengus, capelin, Malotus villosus, and cod, Gadus morva. However, these nets may unintentionally cause a series of harmful interactions with vulnerable species such as collisions and entanglements. Mediterranean tuna traps like Matanza and Almadraba are targeting bluefin tuna, scientifically known with the name Tunus tunus. They consist of a large wing, coda in Italian, guiding tuna into a series of successive chambers, isola in Italian, for capture and are set perpendicular to the shore. These traps were formerly widespread in the Mediterranean, though nowadays little more than 15 are in activity, mainly located in Portugal, Morocco, Spain, and Italy. While tuna traps are efficient, they unintentionally catch large sharks and rays. Unfortunately, these bycatch incidents are insufficiently reported in the Mediterranean. Pike nets are cylindrical or cone-netting bags mounted on rings or other rigid structures. Wings or leaders guide the fish toward the entrance of the bags. Although predominantly used in freshwater environments, they are also effective in catching amphibian species like eels in Mediterranean estuaries or lagoons, like those of the Mediterranean, sometimes so frequented by sea turtles. In the Mediterranean, traditional fishing aggregation devices, or FADs, called canizzati in Sicily or canizzati in France, are used especially in Malta, Tunisia, and the Balearic Islands, primarily to lure dolphin fish known by its scientific name as Coryphenia hyperus. However, during the fishing season, loggerhead turtles caretta, moving from neritic to oceanic habitats, can get entangled in the anchoring lines of these artisanal FADs, which wrap around their necks and flippers. We will conclude this tutorial with an overview of the main fishing gear used for recreational fishing. As a reminder, recreational fishing is a non-commercial subset of capture-harvest fishing motivated by catching fish for fun, pleasure, or sport. This category can be divided further into amateur, sport, and tourism fishing. Marine recreational fisheries come in four main types: pêche à pied, shore-based fishing, boat-based fishing, and underwater fishing. Each type uses different methods and tools. Pêche à pied, or fishing by walking on the coast, involves collecting crustaceans and mollusks from rocks and beaches. Shore-based fishing encompasses all fishing methods conducted from the shore using equipment like beach seines, pole and lines, and different types of traps. Recreational boat fishing is divided into three main types: stationary fishing, where boats steal either on cord or drifting to catch fish. This includes using rods for line fishing or hand lines without rods for jigging, both near the shore or farther out at sea. Passive or harvest fishing, where fishers set up long lines, pots or nets and wait for fish to come. These are common methods also used in small-scale fisheries. Active fishing, where boats move using the engine to help catch fish. This includes trolling and baits and line fishing, which can be done close to shore or farther out. Underwater fishing, also known as spearfishing, involves diving below the water surface to catch fish using spears or harpoons. Now let's look at some tools used in pêche à pied or fishing on foot. The scoop net is a small, handled net used to collect fish or other marine life from the water. It's often held open by a frame made of metal, plastic, or wood and can be used by wading in shallow waters or standing on rocks. Spears and harpoons are tools with sharp points used to catch animals by piercing. Spears can be simple sticks or more elaborate metal spears. Harpoons are similar, but they have a detachable tip connected to a line to secure the catch. Both spears and harpoons allow fishers to target specific fish, reducing unwanted catches. This makes them more environmentally friendly options. Collecting by hand involves directly gathering marine life like shellfish and crabs from the shallow waters. This is again a low-impact method, allowing fishers to selectively harvest, minimizing unintended catch. Gear and techniques used for shore fishing include hooks, handling or pole and lines, beach seines and traps or covered pots. Handlining involves using a line with one or more hooks baited with either natural or artificial bait to catch fish. Jigging, a type of handlining, uses a lure that moves in a specific pattern to attract fish. Fish caught by jigging can be hooked in the mouth or body. To make it easier, manual hand reels are often used, especially in deeper waters. Pole and line fishing uses similar equipment but includes a pole and reel. The pole helps cast the line farther, which is especially important when fishing from the shore, and the reel helps keep the line untangled. These methods are the most popular in recreational fishing. A beach seine is a long, winged net with or without a codon that encircles fish in shallow waters, typically on a beach. A lantern net, also known as covered pot, is shaped like a cone or pyramid and traps fish by quickly covering them to prevent escape. Fishers usually operate it by hand while standing in shallow water or from a small boat. Typically, it catches one fish at a time, which is then removed through an opening at the top. The gear and techniques used for boat-based recreational fishing are the same as those used for artisanal or differently known as small-scale fishing. Those include nets, hooks, and traps or pots. We've already seen them in a section of this tutorial about small-scale fishery, so we won't go over that again. However, one specific technique for recreational boat fishing is trolling. This involves dragging lines with baited hooks or lures behind the boat. The boat may tow several lines, often using outriggers or a single hand-tended line. Lines can be towed close to the surface or deeper, depending on where the fish aggregate in the water column. Species are targeted by adjusting the amount of weight on each line, the length of the line, and the towing speed. In a strict sense, diving is not a fishing method, but rather a way in which a fisher can get close to fish and other animals they wish to collect. If a diver collects fish, usually sedentary, by hand underwater like it is shown in the figure, the landing should be reported as diving. If a diver uses other fishing implements such as harpoon, tongs, or nets, the catch should be attributed to these gears rather than to diving. The use of new technologies in recreational fishing has developed considerably in recent years. Innovations like GPS-controlled trolling motors, ROVs, underwater cameras, and other remote sensing technologies for detecting the position, motion, and even the weight of fish are now commonly used, increasing the impact of recreational fishing and posing new challenges for fisheries resource management. In conclusion, recreational fishing in the Mediterranean Sea involves many techniques and gears. A 2021 survey mentions rod and line, spear gun, traps, long lines, and hand gathering as the main techniques, which can be used from different locations, for instance shore, boat, and underwater, and which target a broad range of taxa as shown here. I hope this overview will help you to better identify and understand the different gears, methods, and materials used in Mediterranean fisheries. Stay tuned for the next tutorial where we will look at the main target species. Thank you and goodbye.